Hello. Now let us look at the salary and other expenses for minor operating department. Since all the expenses and salary are going to be uniform all over the operating departments, we will discuss it only one time, and then after that we will just discuss the changes in the revenue lines for other departments because the expenses will remain same. So you will be able to cover all the expenses at one time um, for all the departments. So salary and wages, as we have discussed in the past, for rooms and F&B as well, it includes earnings paid by the employees for the duties that relate to the operation of property, such as regular pay, overtime, and shift differential. So this labor cost, salary and wages would include the overtime, would include the shift differential pay. Sometimes the hotels pay split shift where people take a break of 2 3 hours during the day and then they are working from morning in the till the night. So they are normally paid shift allowance so that they can work longer, and the hotel does not need to hire a separate person for the second shift. And it has to be remembered that if the person is working in other department, the cost of that person will be need to be charged to the other department rather than charged to the home department where he is actually employed. So if the person from golf course is working in the spa or in this F&B, then the cost of that person would be charged to that department itself instead of charging to the salary and wages of the home department. Then the salary and wages is usually delineated with the significance of the management and non-management. Now, in these other operating departments, usually there are not multiple positions, just only management and non-management. But since they are small departments, they may have only one manager and the other or non-managers. If we split, usually it will have a difficulty in keeping the confidentiality of the payroll. So usually in other operating departments, you will just say all the employees or miscellaneous as a line, so that you are hiding everyone into the one line and the payroll integrity is not compromised. If in case the department is huge and they have multiple managers, you can follow the practice. However, in general practice, in real life, management and non-management does not work here because these small departments have only one managers usually. And then it also includes the contract employees if they are paid through the payroll system of the company, means they are being paid social security. They are usually the part of the attendance. They are part of check in check out. Then those employees would be considered as salary and wages compared to the other type of employees where the contract is done outside and the payment is not done through the payroll system. Then those employees would not be considered as salary and wages but would fall under the contracted lease and outsourced labor. So the contracted lease and outsourced labor usually would be the third party contractors, where you have who are providing the position, who are providing the peoples to fulfill the positions. In this case, the persons are not fixed, only the positions are fixed, so the contractor has a liberty to change the peoples. You may be paying them per hour, per day, per week, or for a month. And normally the contractor is the responsible for the performance of the employee. So if there is any issue in the performance of the people of these peoples, normally the contractor is responsible for them. Then the other line item you have here is service charge distribution, as we have seen in the other department as well. Usually it's the service charge by practice. We are charging in Asian countries and some non-Asian countries a fixed amount of the revenue that is collected from the guest for distribution to the staff. Since it's non-mandatory for if it since it's mandatory for the guest, usually you will have to recognize the service charge as a revenue and also as an expense for the in the P&L item. But if the service charge is discretionary for the guest, it will not fall into the revenue, and hence the distribution of such service charge will also not be part of the P&L. Then you have the next line item as the bonus and incentives. The bonus and incentive usually is the contractual bonus or usually discretionary bonus, sometimes festival bonus, incentive payments for upselling or for selling certain items, maybe merchandise or bringing the memberships or other expensive revenue items. So you may be paying a commission to those employees, and which is usually based on the sales profit and sometime on the guest mentions, like doing exemplary services. So the company may be paying them some extra benefits in order to boost their performance. And that the total of these four line items, the salary, wages, service charge, contract, and bonus, will be considered as the total salary wages. So it's a one part of the labor cost. And the other part of the labor cost is payroll related expenses. The payroll related expenses is categorized into three parts. It's the payroll taxes, which means the contribution to national, state, retirement, employment benefit, disability, medical insurance schemes, or other mandated payroll related taxes which are paid to the social security or to the government. So these are mandated by the law. That's why they are falling under the payroll taxes. If the it does not include the expatriate benefits, expatriate tax is considered as payroll related employee benefits, not as a payroll taxes. Then you have supplemental pay, which includes the vacation pay, the relocation time, the paid time off, the severance pay, all those kind of sick leave, paid sick leave. So the cost of those items means, like if you are paying employee a 10-day vacation leave, then the cost of those 10 days usually should be charged to this line. However, the hotels usually practice a accrual system where they are accruing 1 month, 1 day leave or 2 day leave, depending on the entitlement a year, every month, and then they charge to this line item. And whenever they are giving the actual leaves, they are adjusting it from the provisions of the leave accrual. So that the pay the employees are not really so that it does not affect the payroll expenses. So that's the leave. And then you have also the payroll employee benefits. So employee benefits usually will include your non-mandatory health insurance or meal allowance or the housing, transportation, pension securities, union dues, expatriate benefits, which includes accommodation, their annual ticket, their relocation expenses, their gross up taxes, education subsidy if the government is the if the company is providing the education subsidy to the expatriate peoples. I will be giving you the schedule so that you can have a much more detailed understanding of what goes into the employee benefits. So usually this will be same all the items. It also includes the cost of complimentary meals that are being eaten by the staff in the canteen or in the restaurants. So that's the payroll related benefits, and that gives to the total labor cost and related expenses. So that is usually is the one of the largest line item. So you have to be very critical in analyzing these lines, because you have to compare with the previous year, with the budget, if the costs are increasing, whether the revenue has been increasing. A very good measure of labor cost is the percentage to revenue. Even though the labor cost is fixed nowadays, during the current conditions, during the current times, we expect the hotel managers to maintain a certain level of labor cost percentage. So it may be the hotel standard, usually it's somewhere about 18 to 20% in all the departments. So that's the revenue, so that it does not go too higher. As a hotel, it's 18 to 20%. For individual departments, it can be lower, because you will have other undistributed labor cost, which is also part of this 18%. So usually the target of the individual departments is somewhere between 10 to 12 to 15%, depending on the size of the department. So that's how you have to manage the labor cost expense, understand the labor cost, and then measure the labor cost as compared to the revenue. So now,